be recognized as an element of Article 21, even if it is construed in this way, because it always incorporates an overt act on the part of the suicide victim. Therefore, an unnatural death could not be considered a part of the right to life. The court made a distinction between the right to die and the right to die with dignity by citing the House of Lords ruling in Airedale National Health Service Trust v. Anthony Bland, 1992. A person's natural death process has already started when they are in a permanent vegetative state or are terminally ill, and without life support, death is unavoidable. The court addressed the question of allowing euthanasia for the first time in the case of Aruna Ramchandra Shanbhag v. Union of India, 2011. When Aruna Shanbhag was viciously raped and suffered injuries that rendered her in a permanently vegetative state, she was working as a nurse at King Edward Memorial Hospital in Mumbai. For a very long time, she received nursing care from the hospital staff, but her condition did not get any better. Aruna Shanbhag's euthanasia request was made on her behalf by social activist Pinky Virani. However, it was determined that she lacked the legal authority to make the request because she could not be granted the status of a close friend. However, the two-judge bench went ahead and made a decision, citing Airedale once more as well as other international legal precedents, and concluded that, under certain conditions, passive euthanasia might be permitted for patients who are terminally ill or in a persistent vegetative state. Recognizing the patient's autonomy, the court decided that if the individual is aware and competent to provide approval, their opinion must be considered. Otherwise, at the very least, a close friend's view is required, and they should make the same decision as the individual would have if he or she was in a conscious state. After that, the case would be brought before the High Court, where a division bench would need to assemble a group of 3 qualified doctors to examine the patient in question. Additionally, it was opined that these rules should be followed until Parliament passes any legislation relating to the matter. Facts of the case. In this case, the writ petition sought a decision that, in accordance with Article 21, the right to live with dignity included the right to die with dignity, as well as a guarantee that those in a vegetative state or who are terminally ill might sign a living will or an advance medical directive. Although this issue was initially brought before a 3-judge bench, where it was transferred to a constitution bench because of conflicting precedents about the law governing the right to die in India. The issue, as stated in the petition, first came to light in the year 1994, when the decision in Pirathanam v. the Union of India was announced. Considering the facts and circumstances, the decision in this case was announced by a division bench of the Apex Court, which stated that criminalization of attempt to commit suicide under Section 309 of the Indian Penal Code, 1860 stands unconstitutional as the section is violating the provisions mentioned under Article 14, equality before law and equal protection of law, and Article 21, protection of life and personal liberty, of the Constitution of India. The court further stated that the right to life also includes the right to die. However, this decision was overruled in the case of Gyan Kaur of the state of Punjab, 1996. In this case, the 5-judge bench of the Apex Court narrowed the scope of Article 21 by declaring that the right to life under Article 21 of the Constitution of India does not include the right to die under its ambit. Ultimately, the Supreme Court allowed passive euthanasia in the year 2011 in the case of Aruna Ramchandra Shanbhag, Union of India, and others. In this case, the court allowed passive euthanasia to the rape victim, who had been in a vegetative state for the past 42 years. The court held that, under certain exceptional circumstances, passive euthanasia can be allowed to put the sufferings of the patients to the end. Also, the Apex Court laid down specific guidelines to be followed strictly when deciding on the question of giving passive euthanasia to the patient. Issues in the case. A total of 5 issues were framed in the case of Common Cause v. Union of India. These issues are as follows. 1. Whether passive euthanasia and active euthanasia are different from each other. Whether the right to die in dignity falls under the umbrella of the right to live with dignity, protected by Article 21 of the Constitution. Whether in India, individuals are allowed to include passive euthanasia in their living will. 4. Whether there exists any recommendation by the Law Commission of India concerning the use of euthanasia as a means to end the sufferings of patients. Whether there exists any right provided to the individual for stopping the